But on closer investigation, a philosophical error called the fallacy of misplaced concreteness corrupts the practical application of this ideology. The fallacy of misplaced concreteness occurs when one treats what is merely an abstraction as an entity that exists in the real world. Collectivism, in claiming the individual must sacrifice his or her private interests for the sake of society, takes what is merely a concept, society, and treats such a concept as if it had a concrete existence. In contrast to the individual that has a real existence in the world, society is an abstraction used to represent an ever-changing collection of individuals living and interacting in proximity. As far and as wide as one looks, one will never find a concrete entity called society that we can point to and identify in the manner analogous to how we can identify an individual. Society does not exist apart from the thoughts and actions of people. It does not have interests and does not aim at anything. The same is valid for all other collectives. Or as Carl Jung put it, as a society is a concept, it cannot think, act, speak, or choose, and therefore an individual or a group of individuals must be granted the ability to define the so-called societal greater good, and then granted the power to force individuals to act in service of this good.
This is interesting, because if this was the first time I was hearing this sort of argument, I would think the speaker was just being so ironically contrarian they had ascended beyond parody or satire or genre altogether, because of just how utterly detached they were from reality. I mean, like, what the fuck is he really trying to say here? If we were to apply this bizarre logic to individualism, then you would come to the same conclusions that you would with collectivism, because human beings in a vacuum won't have much in the way of skills, knowledge, or experience, because human development itself is dependent on learning from past generations, engaging with one's current generation and being refined amongst your peers, and passing down those lessons to generations which follow, all of which creates this chain known as civilization. You know, kind of like language and music, or economic trade, or laws and regulations on food, air, and water. All of these things don't exist per se in the material world, but developed by humans as an effective means of passing on information, settling disputes, or establishing guidelines on proper conduct with one another. It's our relationship to one another and these ideas or tools which make not just the individual, but also the collection of human efforts